It is mock draft season here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Coming up on this edition of the program, we will break down what the experts are saying about who your Seattle Seahawks will select with their first round draft pick. We'll show you what they had to say, and we'll react to it as well. And it's really down to two players, it seems. We'll tell you who those are in just a matter of moments. Before we do, I got a challenge for the 12s today. I want to know how many Seahawks all-time first-round picks can you name? And name accurately, okay? Whoever names the most and names the most correct is going to get a shout-out later this week here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Let's see who can do it and who can do it right. All right, we begin our mock draft roundup with Troy Fautanu, the offensive guard from Washington. Mel Kiper Jr. is projecting him to the Seahawks with their first-round pick at 16 overall, filling a big need at the offensive guard spot. Here's what Kiper had to say recently. This is another team whose free agent moves haven't filled the need I identified in my previous mock draft. How dare they? Former starting guard Damian Lewis got a big deal from Carolina, while the other guard spot is going to be an open competition. Seattle has to add O-line reinforcements with this pick. And Mel's absolutely right about that. I don't think anyone is going to be complaining if Troy Fautanu is the pick for the Seahawks. It feels like the safe pick for Seattle there. Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Media, NFL Network, NFL.com, also going with Troy Falano as well, and this is what DJ had to say. Falano reunites with Seahawks offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, who was his OC at Washington. Falano can play tackle, but he would slide in at guard as a rookie with the Hawks. And I think that's a very important thing that DJ points out here, is that with Falano, he's ready to start day one at the guard spot. He already knows that offensive scheme. He played under at Washington, and it isn't just Ryan Grubb that he's worked with, but Scott Huff, the new Seahawks offensive line coach, was also his offensive line coach at Washington. So right away, Faltanu's ready to go. And then there's another, Ryan Wilson of CBS, also with the same projection, going with Troy Falano as well with this pick. Let's hear from Ryan Wilson. He said Troy Falano can play tackle, but he may begin his NFL journey as a guard. And as it turns out, the Seahawks have a huge need at the left guard position, and he's absolutely right about that. I think this is a call for the Seahawks if they go this route with Troy Falano as the pick, that I think everyone would be pleased and be okay with this. Not only is it a feel-good story to have the hometown guy, that played just down the road at Washington, but filling a big need, a natural fit with the scheme. I think this would be a great pick for the Seahawks. What do you guys think? Should the Seahawks draft Troy Falano? What do you think? Y for yes, N for no. It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in the comment section and let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose two or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less. Whether you're talking rebounds in basketball, maybe it's home runs in baseball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. With the baseball season just around the corner, I got the Rodriguez special. We're going with our guy, Julio Rodriguez from your Seattle Mariners, to have more than 168.5 hits this season, while Grayson Rodriguez from the Baltimore Orioles with more than 180.5 strikeouts. If both these hit, we put $20 down, then that's going to turn into $60 on Prize Picks. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. The other name that is getting a lot of love is Jackson Powers Johnson, the center out of Oregon. PFF has him projected to go to the Seahawks at 16. Our latest mock draft here on this channel, we had the Seahawks going with Jackson Powers Johnson as well with the selection. Here's more from PFF. The Seahawks would love to get Troy Falano here, but with him off the board, they opt for another interior offensive lineman who can play guard and center, and one who dominated both spots at the Senior Bowl. And I think that's a very important point that PFF brings up here is I've heard from a lot of y'all say, we don't need Jackson Powers Johnson. We got Olu already. I mean, Olu can play guard and center. Jackson Powers Johnson can play guard and center. Both are talented guys. Scott Huff and Ryan Grubb are smart enough. They'll figure it out and get them both on the field. I can guarantee you that. So stop bitching about the idea of drafting Jackson Powers Johnson, damn it. How about Connor Rogers from NBC, also projecting Jackson Powers Johnson to the Seahawks as well. Here's more from Jackson Powers Johnson. An interior elite. Almost forgot elite. Very important word there. Big word. An elite interior offensive line prospect. Powers Johnson has started at both guard and center. I've heard this before. He was arguably the most dominant offensive player during the Senior Bowl practices, showing off plus athleticism at 6'3", 328 pounds. And then there's one more. Chris Trapeo from CBS, also projecting the same thing. Jackson Powers Johnson as well. Here's what Chris had to say. Powers Johnson is built like a guard, but moves like the center he is. Instant starter with plus upside for Seattle. We've seen how important the center position is in the National Football League. Jason Kelsey, Tyler Linderbaum, Creed Humphrey. This is a win. I'll take either one of these guys. Which one would you take? I think, like we heard in the previous analysis, Powers Johnson is more likely to be available when the Seahawks pick, but I'm not going to complain if it's either one of these guys. No bitching from me. Who would you pick if they're both on the board? Type T for Troy Fautanu. Type J for Jackson Powers Johnson. Let us know in the comments section below. We are bringing you wall-to-wall Seattle Seahawks coverage all offseason long with the latest happenings in your favorite team. Draft, trades, free agency, everything you need to know here on the channel. And we're live every Wednesday as well. Subscribe now. Stay up to date. Never miss a moment here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Best part about it, it's absolutely 100% free. Doesn't cost you a thing. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. All right, we have a new name for you. And the rest of these are all new names the rest of the way, by the way. Will Brinson of CBS going with Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA, former Husky that finished his career playing for Chip Kelly. Here's what Brinson said. Very curious to see what Seattle does without Pete Carroll's influence on drafting philosophy. I would guess the Seahawks are more likely to trade back, but for now, they take Latu here. You can never have too many pass rushers. I think Latu would immediately be an impact player getting playing time. Although edge rusher isn't the Seahawks' biggest need, Latu would be an impact player for the Seahawks team. Joe Klatt, the best analyst in all of college football from Fox Sports, has the Seahawks selecting Byron Murphy as the eyes of Texas are on Murphy, the big defensive tackle from UT who was fantastic for the Longhorns. He's ready to start day one. He'd be a good fit for Seattle. Here's more from Joel Klatt. Mike Macdonald, who I got to know well when he was Michigan's defensive coordinator, has a simple philosophy. And his first order of business is to build a run wall. Build a wall and make defenses pay for it, right? You do that by getting multiple defensive tackles. Murphy fits really well here. And we saw with the Seahawks getting Jonathan Hankins in free agency. Obviously, you have Jaron Reed there. Now you're starting to build that wall there if you get Byron Murphy. So let's ask you, who should the Seahawks draft in the first round? Still more names I'm going to get to, by the way. But from what you've seen so far, who do you think they should draft in the first round? Weigh in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Next up, let's go to The Ringer. No, not that terrible movie. We're going to the website, Bill Simmons' site. Ben Solik has the Seahawks going with Amarius Mims, the offensive tackle from Georgia. Here's what he had to say. Abraham Lucas might walk into camp as the starting right tackle, but Mims represents a high-ceiling investment who isn't necessarily ready to start in year one anyway. And look, there's concerns about Abraham Lucas's knee holding up. Maybe you can move him to guard. I think there's a world where, just like the bumper stickers, Abraham Lucas and Amarius Mims could coexist. Another name here for you, another offensive tackle, J.C. Latham out of Alabama. This is a guy I think is ready to play right away. Nate Davis of USA Today has him projected to Seattle here. Here's what he had to say. The all-SEC right tackle who has experience at guard, simply helps a weak offensive line, somehow given new head coach Mike Macdonald's intent to run the ball more effectively and extensively. You got to run the damn ball in the National Football League. Everybody knows that. JC would help out. So, by the numbers, Fautanu and Powers Johnson are the clear favorites, each getting 3 votes. And then you can see everybody else with 1 vote apiece in this mock draft roundup. So, a lot of this discussion today was about need. And the Seahawks, are they going to draft for need or draft for best available? What is the biggest need the Seahawks need to address in this year's draft? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next time here on Seahawks Today.